Yeah.
Slava Ukraina! Slava Ukraina!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraina!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraina!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraina!
Героям слава!
Behind me is the former front line of the Euromaidan protest, where the Berkut on one side was trying to stop the protesters who were trying to enact regime change. And I'm standing here with Daria, an activist who is at the Euromaidan protest since the very beginning. She's going to walk us through some of the things that happened in the front lines.
Well, here now Kiev is going back to a peaceful state, but there's, as you can see, reconstruction is going. They are repairing the stadium. You know, the statue is unveiled, and this whole cleaning things.
And do you think some of these walls are going to come down? Are they in the process of
the barricades?
Dismantling?
That's the question. No one knows. I feel like there's a lot of support for leaving some things or making them. I don't know. There were ideas of covering them with glass or making a memorial, and I really think that something should remain. Like, we have to remember those events.
And some of the people that are staying around, how long have they been here? What are they doing on a daily basis?
This is people from self-defense, and they say they stay until the election of the new president on the 25th of May to make sure that we will have a democratic government, because the government we have now is temporary.
So what are your feelings on the current state of Ukraine and the future of the politicians?
A lot of people don't support this government as much, and even in the crowd you could see kind of little fights between people on Maidan who say, no, we have to carry on.
A dog was just accidentally lit on fire here by one of the trash can fires that is burning, and there was a little squeal, but thankfully everything is okay.
But even within the crowd there were these little fights. Some people say, no, this is not the government, these are still old faces that come to politics, this is not what people died for. And the other part of the crowd would be calming them down and saying, yes, but we have to wait a bit, that we have no other choice now, and let's not have this aggression within, the Maidan people.
And if the people don't get what they want, do you think they'll come back and continue to protest?
I'm sure, yeah.
So we just came from Donetsk, where a lot of people think that the protesters in Kiev are fascists, they're Nazis, they're very extreme. Can you tell us a little bit from the other side, explain to us what they're really like?
There was this boy who was 16 years old, who was a student in a college. He didn't have any body armor or anything. He was not part of any military organization. He was beaten up by 7 Berkuts. Like, when you talk to a kid like that, how can you think that someone is a military extremist? Yeah, now you can see all these piles of cobblestones. You can see all kinds of people just, getting them out from the ground. I saw a man on a wheelchair. I saw women. I saw men coming just from offices, full, suits. And in the evening, we just made this live chain through whole Maidan and was passing these cobblestones to the front lines. Think about it, we fought with rocks. Like, what kind of extremists fight with rocks? Just throwing rocks. This is the basic you could find to protect yourself. But this is an open microphone, and it really shows also the split within Maidan, that they say, okay, people who were leading the opposition, they had the stage, now they're the government, but Maidan in itself is a unity that wants to control the government, and now just because this opposition is within the government, the stage kind of belongs there, so we'll make our own independent open microphone.
Gives everyone a voice.
Absolutely, even people whom no one wants to hear. I heard them, they come and they speak. There were really a lot of people who were saying after the tragic events on the weekend. Oh look,
playing foosball there. Yeah, there's a lot of history in these walls.
Yeah.
In these structures.
But the first days on the weekend, after the 18th, 19th, 20th, really so many kids. I've never seen so many kids on Maidan before. Just everyone who had kids, I think, brought them to show this history, to show this where people died for their future. And last time you filmed this self-defense people marching, yeah? And this time you filmed is the way Maidan changed. This is the answer.
And what is this giant tower that's been erected over here?
The pyramid?
This.
This is the Christmas tree.
Oh.
This is the Christmas tree, Ukrainian style. Yeah, I know. You see, this is how it all started with the Christmas tree. And I don't know actually what will they do with it. Maybe we should put it in a museum too.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the damage going on here?
They lit it on fire from the top floors, and these are the floors mostly where the injured people were located. And when it started burning, they couldn't be evacuated. They just burned alive, and they found there's these pictures of ashes, basically. Most of them are not identified until now. Yeah, so very sad.
And Daria, can you tell us just a little bit about what's going on in the square here?
Well, the square, we are standing right here where there were the barricades, and really the front line, because this was all taken over by Berkut by then. To me, this is like hellish scenes that I remember. That it's very scary. It feels more tragic to me to be here now, because before the 18th, 19th, 20th of February, there was this, we had a goal to fight for, and now you just come and we still have many goals to fight for, but you just think of those lives that were sacrificed, and it's unfair, and it's very sad, and I don't know, it hurts me to be here in a way, because I know of the people who died and how cruel their death was. Yeah. They didn't have any weapons. Most of them were shot by snipers. I feel this is the most cruel way you could even imagine. You don't see whom you're fighting. You're just killed on spot. So the way they died and the way it all ended in a way. Maidan is not over, but we started as a peaceful protest. And the first days when people were so unified, where there was this joy of being together, of this possibility of change, and the fact that it ended in such a painful way, no one expected. I mean, we expected violence, but even on Khrushchevskoye it was different. When snipers shoot you, what can you do? Of course, I mean, they will always be remembered. And people, I mean, all these flowers, they just show that that street, the Zadushka street, is covered with flowers that people remember and bring into their initiative. That they will definitely remain heroes.
So I noticed that you put down some red flowers here in front of this memorial. Can you tell us a little bit about this person behind us?
This is the youngest of the people who were killed by snipers. Nezalezhnost, he was only 17 years old. And the story of him is that on the 20th, the day he died, he came to Kiev. And before that, he left his village. He just took a bag of food and was carrying it to the bus just to pass it to Kiev. He wasn't intending to come and fight. And then the last moment he, passing the bag, he also jumped into the bus and not telling anyone he went to Kiev. And the morning he came, he got killed. The value of their country, the freedom of their country was their priority, and they sacrificed the highest that any one of us has. Yeah? They sacrificed their lives for this. And the belief they had, they really, really strongly believed that this is possible. In the moment when Maidan was on fire, when so many people were saying this is the end, their belief was so strong that they went to die for it. And you knew that our chances were very little. I mean, I'm sure they all knew that they could die, and they still did it. And I feel like any one of us, of Ukrainians, living now has a huge responsibility of not only what we are doing in this country, but how we live our lives. Because these people really died to redeem our future, to redeem this country.